Alright, in this video I'm going to teach you how to layer some melodies. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is open a couple instruments in my beat and bassline editor. Gonna go ahead and remove this kick, because fuck that kick. Gonna go ahead and pull in a couple vestiges to get my instruments open. I do not really like to use the stuff that comes with LMMS. Go ahead and open up a couple instruments. Gonna open Adonis. Adonis is a free VST plugin. I'll leave a link in the description if you would like to download it for yourself. Nice little lag going on. That's always good. I'm just gonna go ahead and open another one. Then I'm gonna pull open this mallet. Okay. Okay, the first thing you want to do when you're layering melodies and just instruments in general is you really want to pay attention to the pitch. So if you hear the mallets, it kind of has a high sound. So that'll be a higher instrument that we have playing. And I'm going to go ahead and link these to FX channels. We're going to EQ them later, and that's why we need them on FX channels. So go ahead and rename those. You should probably link them to FX channels anyway, even if you're not going to EQ them. Alright, so now I'm going to look for a lower preset, something probably from the lower mids to like the middle mids, and then something from the middle mids to just before the higher frequencies on these two Adonises. So let's go ahead and see what we can find. We'll look through the presets on Vestige by using these arrows down here by presets, instead of opening the actual GUI, because that'll make it lag. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through a few of these. The reason I'm not going to use the lower frequencies is because you want to keep that open for the basses. So a piano or a guitar is going to be kind of in the low, not low frequencies, but like the low mids to the middle of the mids. So I'll probably just go ahead and throw in a piano, an E piano right here. Then we'll just play with instruments to find a third instrument to put in. Okay, so I have 3 instruments, and this is just going to be the first way that we can layer melodies, is basically just by using pitches so they don't interfere with each other and it won't make your frequencies sound muddy. So you're basically balancing where they are in the spectrum of pitch. So the pitches aren't interfering. So you'll have like one in the higher pitches, that's a little lower, one that's even a little lower, or something like that. There's going to be a few other ways that we can. There's going to be another way that we can layer instruments too, and that's basically going to be by making, if they're in the same pitch range, you can layer the instruments by having them play at different times. We'll do that next, but I'll make a little pattern here, and I'm going to throw some EQs on. So I'll start by making a pattern. So I moved this Adonis down because like I said, that was going to be more of the bassy instrument, and then this one I think it already is in the more mids, and then this one's going to be higher. So I'm going to move these up. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the EQs here. So, and if you're using uh, this EQ and you just want to use it kind of as a normal EQ, because if you bring up the dual, it'll have two channels where you can control the left and the right EQ separately, or you can change it to so you can control stereo and mono separately by clicking mid-side down here. But we just want to use it as a normal EQ, so we click link channels, so it'll bring both down at the same time. So we're going to want to bring the bass down. And the mids down. Maybe boost the high a little bit. Something like that. And then we'll go to this, the mid Adonis, which is just playing an A minor chord. Link the channels. Bring down the lows. Bring down the highs. Boost the mid. Bring up the volume in general a little bit, because it's not that loud. I want to bring down the mallets because that was very loud. Now for the last one, which is more bassy. This one's also very quiet. I guess maybe it's just something with the Adonis plugin. They keep it quite quiet. Add another EQ here. And then what we're going to do here is we're just going to cut out the mid and the high frequencies. I forgot to link the channels. Here's it without the EQs. Here's it with the EQs. Now, as you can hear, it doesn't sound absolutely terrible even without the EQs, just because I moved them up and they're in different frequency ranges. But then after you put the EQs on, it really takes a lot of the conflicting sounds out, and they go better together. All right, I got my instruments up, and basically the first thing I'll show you is that they're going to be conflicting if they're both playing at the same time, when they both cover about the same frequency range. So here it is. second thing you can do is pan them, and this might help a little bit. So they're not getting in the way of each other so much. Or the second thing you can do is just make them play at different times, so there's not two instruments playing on the same frequency at the same time. So we'll take these two C's out of the A chord on the dynamic guitars, and then we'll put them in on the piano. So it keeps the frequency range open and available to the piano when the piano plays. Which is much better than this. Where they'll kind of intertwine if you play them both at the same time. So now I've showed you 3 ways to have multiple melodies. The first way was to just kind of choose your instruments. So the instruments start out with frequencies that don't really intertwine with each other. Like choose a high instrument, kind of an instrument in the higher mids, and then an instrument in the lower mids. And then EQ them to make sure that the frequencies where their main body is shines. And then EQ out the others so the other instruments can also shine. And the second way was basically if you have 2 instruments that are sort of in the same frequency, you can pan them to different areas, like one to the left, one to the right. And then the third way is to basically, when you have 2 instruments in the same frequency and you don't want to pan them, you got to make sure they're playing at separate times so the frequencies don't intertwine. This has been how to make multiple melodies and layer them. Thank you for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. I have a podcast channel and also a channel that teaches coding if you'd like to check those out, and a music channel. See you next time.